Live from downtown Spokane, this is 4 News Now, Special Edition.
Some breaking news out of Liberty Lake as we come on the air here today. A Liberty Lake man has died this afternoon. The Spokane Valley Fire Department says the man was burning tumbleweeds around his home, and those tumbleweeds caught his clothes on fire. The fire happened here on North Sunrise Lane in Liberty Lake around noon. The Spokane Valley Fire Department says that man burns tumbleweeds every year. Many of them collect around his fence line. Public Information Officer for the Spokane Valley Fire Department, Jeff Smeltzer, says the device the man was using was not the cause of the man's death, but rather it was the tumbleweeds he was burning caught the man's clothes on fire, and this still is an ongoing investigation. We'll get you more info as we receive it. On your screen now is Kellen Erickson. He was an athlete, he loved sports, and he also struggled with his mental health. He was in therapy and getting help, but in 2020, he died by suicide after graduating from Ferris High School. This loss inspiring his family to start a foundation in his name. Last year, the Kellen Cares Foundation hosted its first ever Helping Boys Thrive Summit. The event returned this year, giving parents, teachers, and anyone who works with young boys a roadmap when it comes to talking openly about mental health. Bronte Sorotsky joined us live in studio with why men are 4 times more likely to die by suicide and what we can do to help.
Well, Jordan, this was the second year the Kellen Cares Foundation hosted this summit to give people the resources to openly talk about mental health, not just at the event, but in everyday life.
And that's why you see 4 times as many boys actually kill themselves.
Mental health is still a complicated and uncomfortable thing for people to talk about, even more so for men.
We have a mental health system that's not trained in the male brain. Don't know that you have to counsel males a certain way.
That's why on Saturday, the Kellen Cares Foundation held its second Helping Boys Thrive Summit to give parents and educators the tools they need to help young boys.
You know, one of the biggest things that we felt was that we didn't have enough resources when we were dealing with these kids that are anxious or suicidal ideations, and spent a lot of time looking at the internet, trying to find resources that just wasn't an easy access for parents to find.
This year's summit included breakout sessions for all different age groups, including elementary, middle school, and young adults relating to mental health.
We wanted to help, but I did not realize how much people want to be involved.
Kellen's mom, Kimber, says now other parents reach out to her about their own sons.
Yeah, a couple of people have been talking to me about their struggling sons, and I feel like they're getting that sense of community, that we're all together in this and we're wrapping ourselves around them.
Showing the importance of bringing mental health to the forefront.
We're going to have healthier and happier boys, and healthier and happier parents, and healthier and happier teachers. It's just all beneficial.
Now, Kimber says that it's amazing how many people showed up to learn about how boys' minds work and have those difficult conversations. And the biggest part is to share what was learned with everyone and put it to use to prevent anyone else from feeling like taking their own life. Live in studio, Bronte Sorotsky, 4 News Now.
A really important story by our Bronte. Thanks for that. And we'll take a live look now over Riverfront Park. It's been a beautiful Saturday, another beautiful Saturday, I should say, but it seems like every time we're ready for nice weather on Saturday, Sunday's weather comes right along.
We have been doing this, I feel like, for months, Jordan.
Yeah.
We have, oh man, Saturday was great. And then Sunday, something else comes along, right? And lo and behold, friends, we have that. Once again, we're going to end our weekend with a little bit of rain, maybe even hear a few rumbles of thunder as well. So on this beautiful Earth Day, we've seen the clouds start to roll in. Temperatures got up into the mid-50s that are still there this evening. Tomorrow will be a little bit warmer, but also by the afternoon, those showers and storms will start to roll on in. As for tonight, even though the clouds have rolled in a little bit over the past few hours, things are going to be fairly quiet. By the time we get towards 8 o'clock, we'll start to see our rain chances slowly start to creep up here. But I'm not expecting a whole lot to be happening around Spokane and Coeur d'Alene until we get into those afternoon hours. Expect wet weather, however, in the Cascades. Maybe even a couple of sprinkles in places like Omak and Moses Lake as we start the day. But that first round of rain showing up right around noon around the Palouse, north to Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, and our northeast Washington counties and in the North Idaho Panhandle. So that is how we're going to begin the day. We'll see more showers and storms through the afternoon, which I'll cover in our Futurecast radar coming up in a moment. Also coming up later, I'm going to talk about some really warm temperatures on their way.
All right, Matt, hey, thanks for that. Ramsey, Dalton, Bora, and Bryan Elementary, 2 of those schools in Coeur d'Alene could be shut down if the school district's $25 million supplemental levy fails to pass next month. The school board yesterday officially declaring a financial emergency, saying one of the reasons they made the emergency declaration before the vote was to give the hundreds of teachers that could be laid off plenty of time to find a new job during hiring season.
That's the whole point to the financial emergency, is that you are able to move forward and let your people know as soon as possible.
One of those teachers whose job is on the line is Teresa Armstrong. She has chosen Bora Elementary not only as the place she wants to work, but also the place she wants to send her son. She received the news that Bora could be one of the schools closing via email.
It was gutting. This has been my place that I've taught for 15 years, and it's been like the home away from home.
The board will approve the list of jobs to cut after the vote if the levy fails. If you live in the district, here's how much more a month you'll have to pay if this levy passes. According to the school district, if your home is valued at $300,000, your taxes will go up $277 a month and $633 a month for a home valued at $525,000. To see exactly how much more you'll need to pay, we have a link to a levy tax calculator. Just look for the story on KXLY.com. A Central Valley High School teacher is now facing sexual misconduct charges after being accused of getting involved with a student. According to court documents, the relationship started over social media last summer. McKenna Kindred alerted school administrators that she was being, quote, harassed online by people accusing her of having a sexual relationship with a student back in December. Spokane County Sheriff's deputies launched an investigation uncovering social media and text messages, including photos shared between Kindred and the teen. Other students told detectives the teen went to her house while her husband was on a hunting trip last November. Kindred is due in court early next month. The Central Valley School District says Kindred submitted her resignation after she was placed on leave. Spokane is one of 28 cities voicing its frustrations with the drug use enforcement in Washington. Mayor Nadine Woodward and 27 other mayors across the state signed and sent a letter to the Washington legislature spelling out their concerns on the direction of a new drug enforcement policy, the way that it is headed in the Washington legislature. Now, the letter that was submitted to them is asking for 2 things: to make it a gross misdemeanor for public drug use and for cities to regulate their own drug enforcement ordinances. Right now, the entire state operates off of a 3-strike system, meaning if someone were caught publicly using drugs, police have to refer them to substance abuse programs at least twice before an arrest can be made. It's a policy that Mayor Woodward says is not enough.
We support the opportunity for treatment, but if you don't get treatment, then you do go to jail if there's been an infraction. We want the abilities for cities to be able to pass ordinances like we have, that we've been working on, the Safer Open Spaces Ordinance, and those are things that the state right now is looking to take away from us.
Part of those demands were in the Senate version of this bill, but the city says the letter was initiated after the House removed that language from the bill. Governor Jay Inslee has officially banned the death penalty in Washington.
Let's be clear. By this act, we are ending the death penalty in the state of Washington, period.
By his side at the signing, Gerald Hankerson, the president of the Seattle King County NAACP. This issue is personal for Hankerson, who was sentenced to life without parole for a stabbing. More than 20 years later, he was granted clemency and released. He served part of his sentence at the state penitentiary in Walla Walla, home to the state's death chamber. Since Hankerson's release, he's fought to ban capital punishment to protect others unfairly sentenced.
Study after study have revealed that how people of color are most likely to get the death penalty than other people. And to finally remove that noose from around our neck, that's substantial, particularly here in Washington State.
Governor Inslee calls the new law a, quote, move forward for fairness in the state. And still much more to come here on 4 News Now. The Supreme Court restores access for the abortion medication mifepristone, putting a pause on a federal judge's ruling. But the battle to keep mifepristone's access is not over. What's next? Coming up. Plus, Washington State's spring football game is underway. We have the big takeaways coming up in a live report from Pullman next on 4 News Now.
And we are getting set for a pretty nice Saturday evening around the inland Northwest. But as we have seen many weekends before this one, Sunday evening not going to be quite as, trouble-free. We'll talk more about the showers and storms headed our way, plus some pretty warm temperatures in your First Alert forecast.
Track live radar on the 4 News Now weather app.
4 News Now is brought to you by Healthcare Pathways Discovery Night.
At 4 News Now, we believe you should expect more from local news. Our team is committed to a community conversation and bringing you information you need when and where you need it. Numerica believes in and supports that mission.
If your checking account isn't earning you money, it's time to switch to bonus checking from Numerica. The account that earns an incredible 2% annual percentage yield. That could earn you up to $500 every year or more.
At Fred Meyer, we want our fresh produce to meet your expectations, which is why we do up to a 27-point inspection to check for things like color and scarring. Because when it comes to fresh, higher standards mean fresher produce. Fred Meyer, fresh for everyone.
Known as a passionate artist, known for loving the outdoors, known for getting everyone together. No one wants to be known for cancer, but a treatment can be. Keytruda is known to treat cancer, FDA approved for 16 types of cancer, including certain early-stage cancers. One of those cancers is triple-negative breast cancer. Keytruda may be used with chemotherapy medicines as treatment before surgery, and then continued alone after surgery when you have early-stage breast cancer and are at high risk of it coming back.
Keytruda can cause your immune system to attack healthy parts of your body during or after treatment. This may be severe and lead to death. See your doctor right away if you have cough, shortness of breath, chest pain, diarrhea, severe stomach pain, severe nausea or vomiting, headache, light sensitivity, eye problems, irregular heartbeat, extreme tiredness, constipation, dizziness or fainting, changes in appetite, thirst or urine, confusion, memory problems, muscle pain or weakness, fever, rash, itching or flushing. There may be other side effects. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions, including immune system problems. If you've had or plan to have an organ or stem cell transplant, receive chest radiation, or have a nervous system problem.
Keytruda is an immunotherapy and is also being studied in hundreds of clinical trials exploring ways to treat even more types of cancer. It's true. Keytruda from Merck. See all the types of cancer Keytruda is known for at Keytruda.com and ask your doctor if Keytruda could be right for you.
When your door is always open, so is the fridge. At Fred Meyer, however you shop, in-store, pickup, or delivery, you get the same great prices, deals, and rewards. That's a win-win-win. Fred Meyer, fresh for everyone.
The Supreme Court keeping the status quo on the abortion drug mifepristone, at least for now. The High Court granting a full stay of a lower court order from a judge in Texas over the FDA's approval of the pill. Here's ABC's Elizabeth Schulz with the details.
The Supreme Court putting a pause on rulings from 2 lower courts that would have severely restricted access to mifepristone, a medication the CDC says is used in more than half of U.S. abortions. Conservative Justices Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas dissented, indicating they would have let the restrictions go into effect. Abortion rights advocates and the pharmaceutical industry relieved by the High Court's decision. President Biden saying in a statement, "I continue to stand by FDA's evidence-based approval of mifepristone. The stakes could not be higher for women across America." The senior counsel for Alliance Defending Freedom, which filed the lawsuit in Texas challenging the FDA approval of mifepristone, responded in a statement saying, "We look forward to a final outcome in this case that will hold the FDA accountable." The federal judge in that case sided with anti-abortion activists, saying mifepristone should never have been approved by the FDA more than 20 years ago. Legal experts say this case could have a much wider impact.
If you can have a drug be approved, be on the market for 23 years, and then have it pulled from the market, that's deeply problematic. And if you're a pharmaceutical company, you may think twice about investing money in research to develop drugs, particularly ones that might be deemed socially controversial.
Oral arguments related to the Texas case will begin on May 17th at the conservative Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. The decision from that court could ultimately send the case back to the Supreme Court. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
And now time for your forecast, where things are going to be heating up here over the next 7 days around the inland Northwest. We do get a little bit of a drop as this next system comes in, brings us some showers tomorrow and on Monday, but then after that, oh my goodness. For the first time since October, we have a very realistic shot of hitting 70 degrees by next weekend, or maybe even by Friday. We could be very, very close. And it looks like this warm weather, once it shows up, is going to stick around for a while. Temperatures for next week, April 30th, through the first few days of May, we got the bullseye over us. Strong chance for above average temperatures, which are in the low 60s for our highs for this point in the year. So after this system comes through, we've got a lot of beautiful weather on the way. In the meantime, however, we have more wet weather. Hey, we could use every drop of rain we could get at this point in the year. For the morning, temperatures pretty mild in the 40s, partly to mostly cloudy skies. Then as we get to the afternoon, that's when you're going to have to keep your eye on the 4 News Now weather app. Check the radar every now and then, because we're going to see these showers become more and more widespread around the region, with those temperatures kind of mild in the 60s. So we'll start off with a zoomed in view here over Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. I said right about noon we're going to see our first round of potential showers here, and you can see that's exactly what we see in this simulation. But once we get towards, say, 4 through about 7 or 8 o'clock, that's when we'll have the possibility for some heavier rain. It's not going to last for very long at any given point, but also might hear a few rumbles of thunder. It just depends on just how much sunshine we get in the morning. The last few times we've had storm chances, it's been very cloudy. We see a little bit more sun tomorrow. We might hear a few rumbles of thunder in the afternoon. This is about 7 o'clock. You can see another round of showers and storms moving through here. And as we head towards 11 o'clock, mostly cloudy skies, but things finally starting to calm down a little bit. So between about 4 and about 8 o'clock, that's when I expect in the metro to have the most active kind of time period here. Now, as we watch things in our extended outlook across the region wide, you can see clearing skies over in central Washington. That'll pop up a couple of rumbles of thunder across the Columbia Basin into places like Omak and Republic. And then as we head into the late night, we'll see those showers continuing to linger around the North Idaho Panhandle or right along the Montana state line. So mild temperatures to start our morning, with temperatures in the 40s and upper 30s, and right about 60 in the afternoon for Spokane, upper 50s elsewhere. We'll even get to the upper 60s in places like Moses Lake and in Lewiston. One more day after that with some showery conditions in the afternoon again for Monday. Cooler temperatures as well. And then, oh boy, here we go. Temperatures in the upper 60s for a few days. And then that golden ray of sunshine, the big 70 degrees by the time we get to next weekend, Jordan.
Once again, looking forward to next Saturday. Matt, thanks for that. And football fans are getting their first look at the 2023 Washington State Cougars. The team is hosting its annual Crimson and Gray spring game at Martin Stadium in Pullman. And that's where we find sports director Julian Minnesone, who's in the middle of all the action. Julian, what's the atmosphere over there like?
Hey, Jordan, thanks. Yeah, you know, it isn't quite a sellout, but that's kind of expected when you have a spring game. It's not going to draw the same crowd necessarily as a regular season game, but nonetheless, there's still quite a bit of fans and students here, and the band is here, as you can probably hear behind me, enjoying Cougar football, enjoying a little bit of sunshine we got out here as well. And as for the players on the field, well, they're trying to treat it as normal as possible. They're treating it like a regular season game. A lot of times, these spring games are just glorified scrimmages. They don't really keep score, you know. The players, you don't really know which jerseys they're in, but not today. Washington State has split up into 2 teams, Crimson and Gray. They have refs. They're playing 4 full quarters with a stopped clock. So far, the game has been pretty physical. There's been some good offensive moments, good defensive moments. The bottom line is what we all want to see. Football is back, and the fans that are here are looking for Washington State to go to an 8th straight bowl game this season.
And the Cougars in a game setting this year. What are some of the big takeaways from the spring game so far?
Well, Jordan, one of the big questions coming into this offseason was how this Washington State offense is going to look under their newly hired offensive coordinator, Ben Arbuckle. The 27-year-old Arbuckle was one of the offensive coordinators and had one of the best offenses in the entire country last year at Western Kentucky, and he's trying to implement that here. And I got to say, so far, so good, especially after the scrimmages and the sequences that we've seen to this point. The Cougars had a number of explosive plays down the field with a few touchdowns. And one of the biggest criticisms from last year was Washington State's inability to have those big plays down the field. The ball a lot of times went east and west rather than north and south. It's still early, but you can already see the glimpses of what this offense could be. And it wasn't just their starting quarterback, Cam Ward. It was even their backup, John Mateer. When the backups are throwing touchdowns as well, you know you've got a pretty good sign. Now, a lot of this you got to take with a grain of salt because the coaches aren't necessarily going to show their entire playbook in their entire hand just in the spring game, considering it is televised today. But it shows you glimpses of what the offense could look like fully renovated when it comes to the fall and ultimately when the season opens against Colorado State. Jordan?
All right, Julian, thanks for that. Certainly a lot to look forward to this season. And still ahead here after the break, this trial will be opening in just a few weeks. A preview of what you can expect when it opens.
Stream 4 News now on your TV for free with the KXLY Plus app.
Arby's, 2 for $7 every day. Yee! Classic beef and cheddar hard. 2 of those things for just $7. Arby's, we have the meat.
When your back pain is your foot's fault. This is Dean's story.
I had back pain, and I honestly didn't know where to go.
Until a friend suggested the Good Feet store.
She had to explain to me the feet are connected to the back.
And get this.
As soon as I put on those Good Feet arch supports, the pressure lifted off my back. It's like finding that missing puzzle piece. Like, yes, this is it.
Stop by for your free fitting at the Good Feet store.
This is about more than just tractors. These are people's lives we're talking about here.
When I'm on my Kubota, everything goes away. It's my therapy.
Okay, guys, we need to get this part ordered for Rick's tractor immediately.
Heck, they don't treat people as customers. They treat people like family.
It's all about fun, food, relaxation, low room prices, and more fun. Cure your spring fever at North Idaho's most welcoming casino, the Kootenai Casino. April is Progressive Super Spends Month, and it's your chance to win big while paying so little for your getaway. Our April Kootenai Falls Lodge and Riverview rooms are specially priced. If amazing gaming is what you want, book a Spring Fever getaway. Call 888-YOU-ARE-LUCKY or visit KootenaiRiverInn.com.
You filming?
Yep.
Try rolling your wrist, dude.
You gotta focus on balance.
You should switch to sledding. I'm gonna block him.
Good idea.
Don't forget stick work. Hustle's paying off.
Arby's, 2 for $7 every day. A classic, a favorite, an Arby's legend. 2 of those things for just $7. Arby's, we have the meat.
4 News Now is brought to you by STCU Best of Broadway, BroadwaySpokane.com.
The Hiawatha Trail, or Trial as I incorrectly called it before the break, will be opening in just a few weeks, and we wanted to give you a preview of what you can expect when it opens. So let's go for a ride here on the Air 4 drone.
Welcome to the Hiawatha. The Hiawatha is America's most scenic rails to trails conversion. You've got condensed into a 15-mile, mostly downhill path. You've got 7 sky-high trestles, 10 tunnels, 9 of the tunnels which you ride through. And the first one, which you see here, is the Taft Tunnel. It's 1.661 miles long, and it is dark. Some of the tunnels are curved, most of them are straight. Some of them are reinforced with cement, and others are just naturally left the way they were chipped out of the earth.
In St. Louis, we do a lot of bike riding on rails to trails, but let me just say, there's nothing like this there. It was terrific. Between the tunnels and the trestles, wow. We rode this about 17 years ago, so not long after it opened, so we wanted to come back.
Well, I think some of the history is what I find really interesting, and the scenic beauty. So when you get up on top of Kelly Creek Trestle, which is the longest trestle, and it's also the highest at 230 feet up, you're able to look way up a valley and know that there was a mill at the far end. They built this railroad back in the day to harvest all the virgin timber that was here. This was known as the most beautiful section of railroad in the country when it was first established back in 1909.
Oh, it's just gorgeous.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app.
If you have a fear of missing out, you might want to start earning with a free Camus Rewards card because, dude, Camus Rewards at Northern Quest for all the ways you play.
Your heart is the beat of life. If you have heart failure, entrust your heart to Entresto. Entresto helps improve your heart's ability to pump blood to the body. Don't take Entresto if pregnant. It can cause harm or death to an unborn baby. And don't take Entresto with an ACE inhibitor or aliskiren, or if you've had angioedema with an ACE or ARB. The most serious side effects are angioedema, low blood pressure, kidney problems, or high blood potassium. Ask your doctor if Entresto is right for you.
Family is just very important. She's my sister, and we depend on each other a lot.
She's the rock of the family. She's the person who holds everything together.
It's a battle, I'm gonna be there.
Keytruda and chemotherapy been treated in my cancer with 2 different types of medicine.
In a clinical trial, Keytruda and chemotherapy was proven to help people live longer than chemotherapy alone. Keytruda is used to treat more patients with advanced lung cancer than any other immunotherapy. Keytruda may be used with certain chemotherapies as your first treatment. If you have advanced non-squamous, non-small cell lung cancer and you do not have an abnormal EGFR or ALK gene. Keytruda can cause your immune system to attack healthy parts of your body during or after treatment. This may be severe and lead to death. See your doctor right away if you have cough, shortness of breath, chest pain, diarrhea, severe stomach pain, severe nausea or vomiting, headache, light sensitivity, eye problems, irregular heartbeat, extreme tiredness, constipation, dizziness or fainting, changes in appetite, thirst or urine, confusion, memory problems, muscle pain or weakness, fever, rash, itching or flushing. There may be other side effects. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions, including immune system problems. If you've had or plan to have an organ or stem cell transplant, receive chest radiation, or have a nervous system problem.
It feels good to be here for them.
Living longer is possible. It's true. Keytruda from Merck. Ask your doctor about Keytruda.
At Northern Quest, we offer the lowest minimum bets and highest maximum bets. Because only you know if you're feeling lucky, valued guest. Northern Quest. Yes, the best.
4 News Now is brought to you by Coeur d'Alene Nissan.
Big game tonight, Matt. Go Avs.
Go Lightning. Have a good night, everybody.
Download the 4 News Now app today. See breaking news in your area or have a story idea? Contact 4 News Now.